Everybody back?
Yes.
Yes.
Who would like to start?
Me, number one.
Okay.
Question one. The method of dependent arising, paticca samuppada, naya, denote the causal structure of the round of existence explained in details. Okay, the method of dependent arising, paticca samuppada, sometimes translated as dependent origin, is one of the most important teachings in Buddhism. It explains how and why suffering and rebirth occur, showing the causal structure of the round of existence, that is samsara. In simple terms, it teaches that nothing arises independently. Every state or event arises because of causes and conditions. When this exists, that comes to be. With the arising of this, that arises. When this does not exist, that does not come to be. With the cessation of this, that ceases. This is the universal law of nature. The Buddha used this principle to explain the cycle of birth, suffering, and rebirth. The round of existence referred to as samsara, the continuous cycle of birth, aging, death, and rebirth. It is the conditioned world of suffering, impermanence, and non-self, in which sentient beings wander driven by their action, there is the karma, and defilement, kalisa. This round is not just a single lifetime, but a beginningless and endless process of becoming, experiencing existence in various planes, from the most hellish to the most divine. The causal structure of the round of existence is explained through 12 causal links known as nidanas. These links show how ignorance leads to suffering and rebirth. 1. Ignorance. Ignorance of reality, especially ignorance of the Four Noble Truths, impermanence, and non-self. Because beings do not understand reality, they act in ways that create karmic results. Number 2, volitional formation. These are intentional action of the body, speech, and mind shaped by ignorance. They create karma that condition future existence. 3, consciousness. The rebirth consciousness that arises due to past karmic formation. It connects past life action with present existence. Number 4, nama and name and form. There is nama and rupa. The psychophysical organism. Nama, mental factor. Feeling, perception, intention, contact, attention. Rupa is the physical body. Number 5, 6 sense bases. The 6 faculties are the eyes, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Contact. 6, contact. Contact occurs when sense organ plus an object plus consciousness meet. Example, the eye plus the form plus the visual consciousness. 7, feeling. From contact arises feeling. Feelings, we have got present feelings, unpresent feelings, and neutral feelings. 8, craving. Feeling leads to desire or craving, such as craving for pleasure, craving for existence, craving for non-existent. Craving is a major cause of suffering. Number 9, clinging. Craving intensify into attachment, including attachment to sense pressure, view, ritual, the idea of self. Number 10, becoming. Due to clinging, beings generate karmic processes that lead to future existence. Number 11, birth, the arising of a new life in any realm. Number 12, aging and death. Birth inevitably leads to aging, death, sorrow, lamentation, suffering. Thus, the cycle of samsara continues. This 12-link chain is not a linear path from 1 to 12 over a single lifetime. It is a cyclical process that operates over 3 lifetimes, the past, the present, and the future, to illustrate the causal structure of samsara. Past life causes link 1 to 2. There is ignorant, drive, volitional formation, our action and intention. These are the karmic causes created in the previous life. Present life result is links 3 to 7. The karmic energy from those past action condition the consciousness that relink at the moment of conception in this life. This consciousness then support the development of mind and matter, the six sense base, contact, and feeling. This is the resultant phase of the present life. Present life causes link 8 to 10. As we experience feeling, we react with craving and clinging. This powerful grasping creates a new karmic force, a momentum towards becoming, the process that will lead to future existence. Future life result link 11 to 12. The karmic force of craving and clinging in the present life condition a new birth in a future life, which inevitably leads to aging and death, and the cycle begins again. This is the round of existence. It turns endlessly because of the causes. Ignorant, craving, clinging produce their effect, birth, and suffering. And those effects become the condition for new causes. The teaching is not only about how suffering arises, but also how to stop it. If ignorance is removed, the change collapses. Without ignorance, no karmic formation. Without formation, no rebirth consciousness. Without rebirth, no birth. Without birth, no aging and death. Thus, the cessation of the change leads to nirvana, the end of suffering. Dependent arising demonstrates several core Buddhist principles. Impermanence. Everything arises due to condition and therefore changes. Non-self. There is no permanent soul or self-controlling existence, only causes processes. Number 3, conditional reality. All phenomena exist interdependently, not independently. By understanding the structure, one understands the very engine of suffering and crucially how to bring that engine to a halt, therefore breaking the cycle of birth and death. That's the end for question 1.
Okay, good try.
Can I
Anybody
continue?
want to add anything or anybody want to add anything? If no, then we continue the next one.
Okay,
Well,
thank you.
Brother Cole did raise his hand. Would you like to say something?
Oh, no. It's clapping. Applause.
Okay, sorry.
Thank you, Brother Ko.
Sorry,
Okay.
Sister Pei-Ling. Actually, it's quite good, but the last slide, right? A bit, initially I read a bit confused, but then you say without formation, no rebirth consciousness, then no rebirth, then no birth. Maybe you want to write no rebirth consciousness. Initially I was thinking without becoming, then no aging, no death, but then this one I suddenly jump. Then after that only I thought, yeah, because you want to say no rebirth consciousness, then no birth, then no aging. Initially I thought, how come the rebirth come into the picture already? a bit confusing initially lah.
Okay. Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yeah. You want me to put consciousness, right?
No, to me initially I read like a bit confused like that. Why suddenly no rebirth, then no birth, then after that I think, oh, you're talking about no rebirth consciousness, because if we follow the dependent origination, actually no rebirth and no birth is not there one ma.
Okay.
But that's my thought lah. That's my thought lah. Initially, I a bit confused what you are trying to say.
Okay. So,
Maybe
okay, can I?
another way is to put without formation, no becoming.
Oh, no becoming. Okay. Okay, can no becoming.
Then without becoming, then there's
Without becoming. Okay, no aging and death. Okay, can. I can change. Get you. Okay.
She
Any
was
more?
trying to say without rebirth consciousness, then there's no birth. She jumped one shot, then no birth, then no aging. But actually, without rebirth consciousness, if you want to follow the things, you got a lot more ma. So I thought straight away she jumped into, okay, conclude, then there's no birth, there's no aging, like that. But if we follow the links, it's not like that. Even she put there without becoming, then without rebirth, then no becoming, like that. Then it's like, then lagi not correct the link.
No, I think in certain sutta, the reverse loop, they don't go through all the 11 links, is it? They actually, I think, if I'm not wrong, about 4 or 5 links only, and then that's the end already, because they sort of simplify it or what, I'm not too sure. But it's, in the sutta, it's mentioned in the shorter version. Some sutta,
Okay.
not all.
Okay. So without rebirth, then no birth, then no becoming. Or without rebirth, then no becoming.
That one I can't remember the actual details.
No, I mean in this sense, in this slide.
Okay, without rebirth, no becoming.
Because you see, becoming and formation is the same. If you look at the becoming and the sankara is the same. Bhava and sankara is the same. It's a karmic potential or karma.
Yes.
If you say without formation, then no becoming also not correct.
So how to change?
So I take out this whole thing now.
Without formation.
Not to confuse, so I will delete this paragraph lah. This whole paragraph.
No, maybe it's like this: without formation, no rebirth, and then without rebirth, there's no aging. No? Then you just, instead of 4 lines,
without rebirth,
without rebirth, then there's no aging and death.
Without rebirth, there's no aging.
And
without rebirth, there's no aging, correct?
So the third line you take away, that will be okay. Really.
Okay, understand. Without no rebirth consciousness. But 对吗？这样也是可以啦，可以啦，好啦。Okay.
No, but the code say without formation, then no rebirth.
Yeah, I know. So he says, remove this third line. Okay, so it goes
and
like
then the
no
fourth line, without rebirth, no aging and death.
Without rebirth, okay, can. Without rebirth, no aging and death.
So
okay, understand. Can. Brother Lau, okay or not?
Okay.
Okay, okay. So I continue with question 7. Buddha Dhamma differs from other religious thought in view of the teaching of the law of dependence arising. Discuss and give a brief explanation of the 12 factors of paticca samuppada. Okay, the Buddha taught the paticca samuppada, that is the law of dependent arising as a fundamental principle, explaining how existence and suffering arise through causes and conditions. The doctrine makes Buddhism unique among many religious philosophy because it rejects the idea of a permanent soul or a creator God, a creator who controls the universe. Instead, it teaches that all phenomena arise due to interconnected causes. Now, many religions explain the origin of life and the universe through a supreme creator God or an eternal soul. In contrast, Buddha Dhamma explains existence through conditional causation. In many religious traditions, the world is believed to be created and governed by a divine being. Buddha Dhamma teaches that the world arises through natural law and condition. No permanent creator controls the cycle of existence. There is no creator God. The law of dependent arising shows that every event has causes and nothing appears without condition. Some religions teach that an eternal soul passes from life to life. However, Buddha Dhamma teaches the doctrine of non-self. There is no permanent self or soul. What continues from life to life is the causes process, not a fixed identity. The teaching of dependent arising provides a natural explanation of suffering and rebirth. It shows that suffering arises due to a specific causes. If those causes are removed, suffering ceases. This causes understanding is closely connected with the Four Noble Truths, which explain the origin and the cessation of suffering. Since life is governed by causes and conditions rather than by divine intervention, individuals are responsible for their own action. Through wisdom and ethical conduct, they can end suffering and reach nirvana. Thus, Buddha Dhamma differ from other religion thoughts by explaining existence through dependent causation rather than divine creation or eternal soul. The 12 factor of dependent arising is explained through the 12 interconnected links that describe the cycle of birth, suffering, and rebirth. Here is a concise explanation of each. Avijja, that is ignorant, not knowing things as they truly are. It is ignorant of the Four Noble Truths, of one true nature, and of the principle of dependent arising itself. It is the primary root of the entire cycle. Sankhara, volitional formation. These are the intentional action of karmic formation motivated by ignorance. They can be bodily, verbal, or mental. They are the karma that fuel next future existence. Vijnana, consciousness, conditioned by our past karmic formation. This is the rebirth linking consciousness that arises in a new existence. In a womb, for example, it is the initial spark of life in a new lifetime. Nama-rupa, the psychophysical organism that develops. Nama, mind, refer to the mental factor like feeling, perception, and contact. Rupa, which is matter, refer to the physical body and its sense organ. Number 5, Salayatana, the sixth sense base. The six internal sense door, the eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. These are the instruments through which the world is experienced. 6, Phassa, contact, the meeting of an external object, a sense organ, example, the eye, and the corresponding consciousness, example, the eye consciousness. It is the point of sensory experience. Vedana, feeling, the raw affective tone that arises with every experience of contact. It is simply the sensation of pressure, pain, or neutral feeling. Tanha, craving, the thirst of desire that arises in response to the feeling. We crave more of pleasant feeling, crave to be rid of painful one, and crave for neutral feeling to persist. Upadana, clinging, grasping, the intensification of craving. It is the active attempt to hold on to and possess the object of our desire or to firmly grasp view and opinion. Bhava, becoming or existence, the powerful force of being or existence that is generated by clinging. It is the momentum that propels us towards a new birth. It has true meaning, the active karmic process in the present and the resultant new existence in the future. Jati, birth, the actual arising of a new life, a new psychophysical organism in one of the various realms of existence conditioned by the force of becoming, bhava. Jara marana, aging and death, the inevitable end of that newly born existence. Following birth, decay, and death are unavoidable. With that, the entire cycle of sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair arises, ready to begin the process again. The 12 factors of Paticca Samuppada describe how ignorance leads to rebirth and suffering, and how the removal of ignorance ultimately leads to freedom from the cycle of existence and the attainment of nirvana. Thank you. That's all.
Okay. Anybody want to comment?
Sorry, I want to ask nirvana, is it the correct? It's not correct. I mean, say usually we don't use nirvana, right? Or do we use we don't use nirvana instead?
Nibbana.
Yeah.
You mean want to double B, is it?
Yeah. Nirvana like don't know. Do we use that?
It's Sanskrit. The new R one is Sanskrit.
Another one is
hand.
Double B. Pali is double B.
Okay.
Another one is, do we need to write which one link to what, or in this presentation is good enough?
I think this one didn't ask so much. This one just asks you about the 12 link. Discuss and give a brief explanation of the 12 factor of the DO.
Okay.
They didn't ask us too much. But the first question, yes. The first question asked quite a lot.
Okay. Discuss and give a brief explanation. It's okay.
Okay.
Brother Lau, sorry, Brother Ko would like to say something?
Yeah. Okay, on the item 10, Sister Pelen, you mentioned about the two meanings, okay? The active process in the present and the resultant new existence in the future. So this is the active karmic process, is the karma bhava. I think in the case of bhava, it refers to the active one. Okay? Whereas the resultant new existence, upapatti bhava, refers to the birth. Yes, bhava does have two meanings, but in this case, the bhava is referring to the karma bhava. And the upapatti bhava refers to the jati, actually. So when you put in like this, I think sometimes it can be quite confusing because I was confused before.
Okay.
So you have to be careful with this.
Okay. Okay.
And then the other thing is, okay, your number 12, okay, the second end of second line, with death, the entire cycle of sorrow lamentation arises. Once it's there already, this one will cease already.
No.
It was.
But
That means this one you should be following
But
birth,
sorry.
following birth, then aging and death. That is stop already. And then it normally the between birth and between aging and death, there will be sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief.
Yes.
Okay.
But
Then,
we will be ready to begin the process again.
but your
wrong.
Wrong. Sentence, I think, is not
Correct. So how
so
to
if you
phrase
want
it?
to rephrase it,
If that the entire cycle of sorrow, lamentation, pain, and grief and despair arises, ready to
Following
begin.
birth, the entire cycle begin, then only come to decay and death.
Following the death, the entire cycle.
Following birth, the
Of
entire cycle of sorrow, lamentation, whatever arises.
and
then only come to the death, lor. Then decay and death are unavoidable.
that means your second line, following birth, the death you don't put in first, or you push it to the back and then you insert the sorrow, lamentation, and despair, lor.
Okay.
Then the final sentence will be with death, then is ready to begin the
new process.
The new process of rebirth again. Maybe that
Okay.
will clarify better lah.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. Brother Lau?
If you want, because I have a copy, I send to you, go and digest yourself. Because you never put too much on the other school, other religious and philosophical thought.
Must put
I send to you, you talk about creator, deity, then non-soul, then condition over determinism or randomness, then ethical autonomy without divine command. The rest you have already lah. So probably add this few point in, you'll be make the essay much better lah. I send to you later.
Okay.
You add into all these different view from the other religious thought lah.
Okay.
And that the rest, I think, all right lah. I think the rest, you're more expert than me. Okay.
Okay.
I'll send you after the class.
So should I proceed with my?
Yeah. Continue.
And today is the 3rd March the 8th, 2026. I'll be presenting my YMBA Diploma Abhidhamma assignment for tutorial 5, question 2. The question is, what is the immediate cause according to the law of dependent arising for someone to get involved in seeking pleasure and happiness? Discuss. So the questions is about law of dependent arising, and it also mentioned about seeking pleasure and happiness, and what are the immediate cause that leads to one involved in seeking pleasure and happiness. So I will discuss this, and this is my presentation or my assignment. So introduction. So in the Pali Canon, that is the Sutta and Abhidhamma collections of Pitaka, the law of causality are presented in various ways or approaches to cater for the diverse needs of the people then and even now, as well as in future. Commonly known to us is the law of cause and effect, or karma, or sometimes we call it karma vipaka. Dependent arising or dependent origination, or in Pali, paticca samuppada, and conditionality or patana are more detailed, elaborate, and complicated, and thus less studied and understood. So the law of dependent arising explains the causal chain that keeps being trapped in the cycle of birth and death, or we call samsara. Among its 12 links, the connection between the feeling and craving is particularly significant in understanding why beings become involved in seeking pleasure and happiness. This essay will try to examine that causal relationship and explore how it operates in daily experience. So let's have a brief understanding of dependent arising, paticca samuppada. Generally, it is presented as the 12 nodes with 11 causal links. You can refer to Samyutta Nikaya 12.1 and Samyutta Nikaya 12.2 for better details. So it normally starts with ignorance, avidya, as the condition, volitional formation, sankara, comes to be. This is based on the Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation. So with volitional formation as the condition, consciousness comes to be. With consciousness as the condition, name and form, or nama-rupa comes to be. With name and form as the condition, 6 sense bases comes to be. With 6 sense bases as the condition, contact comes to be. With contact as the condition, feeling comes to be. With feeling as the condition, craving comes to be. With craving as the condition, clinging comes to be. With clinging as the condition, becoming, bhava, comes to be. With becoming as the condition, birth, jati, comes to be. With birth as the condition, aging, death, jara, marana, comes to be. Together with sorrow, lamentation, pain, grief, and despair. Such is the origin of the whole mass of suffering. So this is a quote from the Samyutta Nikaya 12.1. So this paticca samuppada helps to explain how beings or existence in this cycle of lives and deaths, or the samsaric cycle. Without knowing or due to ignorance, dependent arising shows how beings keep chasing from one node, or sometimes we call it one factor, to another, continuously through our habits and without realizing, and thus are trapped from birth to death to birth ad infinitum. The most important part and purpose of Buddha Dhamma is to explain and guide us how to stop this dependent arising process and get out from samsaric cycle. The suttas teach us the various ways and offer various methodologies and methods. The briefest way in the sutta is with the cessation of ignorance as the condition, the volitional formation ceases, and continue on until the last part. With the cessation of birth as the condition, aging and death ceases. So this is the Patiloma versions of dependent arising. There is the cessation process of dependent arising. Now let's look at the phrase seeking pleasure and happiness that most worldlings will be engrossed with. So to discuss and understand this topic on what causes a person to get involved in seeking pleasure and happiness, one has to understand the mechanics of human mind psychology as in science, or dependent arising in Buddhism. From the Theravada Abhidhamma, when the sense space, the relevant sense object, and the sense consciousness come together, there is contact, phassa. So with contact, feeling arises. And from feeling, craving followed by clinging arises. With clinging, becoming arises. which then condition the arisings of birth. As an illustration, when the eye sees, meaning to say there's a contact, a physical object, eye consciousness arises simultaneously with the eye contact. Then feeling follows or arises due to the eye contact. Generally, there are three kinds of feeling, namely pleasant feeling, unpleasant feeling, and neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling. Let's look at the pleasant feeling, Sukha Vedana. So when Sukha Vedana arises, the tendency is to like it and want it because it's desirable. And because of these pleasant attributes, the mind craves for it, wishes to keep it, and desire to have more of it. This craving will then condition the arising of clinging for that pleasant feeling. Clinging is a very much stronger desire than craving. So in the sutta, craving is said to be like the thought of wanting it. While clinging, the simile is like the hand holding tightly and not letting go of it. That means something is on your hand already, and you hold it tightly and not letting go of it. The mind will proliferate. For example, you will think, you will consider, you will evaluate, or you will plan, etc. And that's what it means by proliferate here. So the mind will proliferate. That has various intention, cetana. And because of that intention, then it will act through body, speech, and mind. And because of that action, it generates karma. Or in dependent arising, it is called becoming bhava. More specifically, it's called karma bhava. Okay. It's double MA, karma bhava. So when the karma ripens, there will be the result. And that result is birth, or called jati in dependent arising. More specifically in the Abhidhamma is upapati bhava. And as a result of birth, there will be aging. And then it leads to death. Okay, let's now discuss the unpleasant feeling, the dukkha vedana. So in the case when dukkha vedana arises, the tendency is to push it away or reject it because it's not pleasant nor desirable. There is aversion towards it. The mind looks for relief. And based on the memory or the sanya, it also possibly seeks for alternatives, the opposites of unpleasant feeling. And past wishes and craves for the past. There is the memory of a past desirable experience or feelings. That's how aversion conditions the arising of craving and clinging, not for the pleasant feelings, but for relief and its opposites. Thus, the dependent arising flows continue on. Now, let's look at the case of neither pleasant nor unpleasant feeling, adukkha masukha vedana. The mind is generally indifferent or unaware of it. Due to ignorance, the mind might also like it, as it is quiet and cool, especially after a hectic life or emotional upheaval. So the quiet and cool becomes very pleasant in that sense. Similarly, a yogi might desire, attach, and cling to the calm, cool, and peaceful state of absorption. That is the jhana. or thinking that it is nirvana. Thus, to the untrained mind, unaware of its impermanent nature, it might mistaken it for peace or even nirvana. This subtle attachment rooted in ignorance sustains and continues the cycle of dependent arising. So let's have a look at this sutta, Madhu Pindika Sutta. It's honey ball discourse. It's in Majjhima Nikaya 80. Venerable Mahatkachana elaborated Buddha's brief teaching to a group of monks. And part of the passage is as follows. I just quote part of the passage. I consciousness arises dependent on the eye and sight. That means the sense base, the eye's sense base, and the sight, that means is the eye objects. And because of that, the eye vijnana, eye consciousness arises. The meeting of the three, that means eye consciousness, the eye, and the object. The meeting of these three is contact. And contact is a requirement for feeling. That means without contact, feeling will not arise. And what you feel, you perceive. And what you perceive, you will think about. That means the mind start to think about it. What you think about, you proliferate. You think more. You plan, you consider, you review. And there could be many other combinations when the mind proliferates. What you proliferate is the source from which judgments driven by proliferative perceptions, that is the memory, beset a person. This occurs with respect to sights known by the eye in the past, that means from the past experience. In the future, that means you speculate about potential that may happen in the future, and the present, that is in the present situation or the present life. So this passage is regard to the eye and the eye objects as well as the eye consciousness, and how the mind actually proliferate from there on. So for someone seeking pleasure and happiness, it is the desire, the wanting and the craving for and to have pleasure and happiness. Something that the mind thinks and believes as good, blissful, and desirable to have. So from the above this feeling discussion based on dependent arising, the immediate cause for someone involved in seeking pleasure and happiness, which is craving, is the feeling, the Vedana, more specifically the Sukha Vedana. Whereas in the case of unpleasant feeling, the immediate cause is more influenced by the perception or memory of past pleasant experience. While in the case of neither pleasant nor unpleasant feelings, the immediate cause is more influenced by avidya, the ignorance. And because of the ignorance, it leads to wrong understanding of the true nature of reality. Thus, because of that pleasurable and happy feelings, that person would desire, crave, and cling onto it. With craving and clinging, coupled with perceptions, the mind will proliferate. It will plan, imagine, strategize, etc. Such as, just an example, how to obtain or to maintain that pleasant feeling. This mental activity, therefore, fuels the condition of becoming bhava and results in the repeated seeking behavior. That means the cycle reinforces itself. The initial desire becomes habitual seeking behavior. as he or she would act on it, that means you will do something about it, then there will be a karmic potential from there on. And thus the cycle of dependent arising will keep on rolling. In the Buddha's teaching, the Buddha frequently advises us to develop mindfulness, sati, and with wise attention, yoniso manasikara. Over time, he or she, with those practices, will realize that this pleasure feeling is actually momentary, temporary, and it will change and also cease. He or she should not react, chase, nor respond to the feeling, perception, and thoughts. Instead, to just observe its nature and characteristics objectively. By so doing, he or she will realize its impermanence, suffering, and non-self nature. And the hook of this is I, this is my, this is me, would gradually fade away. And the dependent arising chain breaks and the cycle stops. And the sense of ease, calm, and freedom will be of a higher level or a different level. So as a conclusion, therefore, according to dependent arising, the immediate cause for seeking pleasure and happiness is feeling, especially pleasant feeling. This natural but unexamined reaction will keep beings bound to the cycle of suffering or samsara. However, through development and cultivation of mindful observation and wise attention, and over time, one could break the chain at the feeling-craving link, thus preventing craving from arising and thus stop the dependent arising. In so doing, the path to liberation from samsara becomes possible and accessible. So these are the notes and the reference. So I would like to thank Brother Lau and his subsequent feedbacks and suggestions to improve the presentation. Thank you. May the
Very good.
Buddha defend
Anybody want to comment?
us long. Thank you.
Mr. Teo, any comment? No comment, we go to the next one.
Only feel that maybe no need to say which sutta, whatever. Don't know. Like Abhidhamma become sutta, become Dhamma like that. Sometimes I also think if we really write from the Abhidhamma view, this is what we write is something like a sutta. So if the Dhamma and the Abhidhamma come out same question, so we write similar things, is it?
So actually, in my case, I just add in a few supporting suttas to reinforce the case for Abhidhamma explanation.
Yeah, I understand. My question is, if the question come out in Dhamma and Abhidhamma side, maybe not possible. One is here 5, one is here 4, is it? So how do we actually write? Maybe come out write the same thing.
In the case of dependent arising, I think both Dhamma and Abhidhamma, there is overlapping, because in the sutta, the way they explain also quite close to Abhidhamma, except some of the technical details are, like for example, ignorance. What does ignorance refers to? So Abhidhamma may elaborate a bit more on what it means by ignorance. But sutta it basically says about 4 noble truths.
Okay.
So that's how, but in other cases, maybe the difference can be quite extensive.
Okay.
Because I think in the Dhamma, the Vitti process is not so well explained. compared to Abhidhamma.
Okay. So if Dhamma and Abhidhamma come out, the way we write is quite similar lah.
For Paticca Samuppada, I think it's quite similar.
Okay.
So any other things? If not, I'll continue with the next question 6. Okay, on the question 6, the question is this way. Classify the factors of dependent arising under the 3 rounds, Vatani, and explain the cyclic pattern of life in samsara. Introduction. In the Buddha Dhamma, there are various suttas that mention about and explain dependent arising, Paticca Samuppada. This is one way of understanding the causal relations, especially on beings in the cycle of birth and death, samsara. Dependent arising might be explained in various ways, such as the forward anuloma causal link, the reverse or cessation causal link, patiloma. However, in this discussion, as asked by the question, this essay will classify the 12 factors of dependent arising under these 3 rounds, Vivata, and discuss how the cyclic pattern of existence in samsara. So, dependent arising, Paticca Samuppada. This is just to introduce the Paticca Samuppada in brief. Dependent arising have 12 nodes connected by 11 causal links. The 12 nodes are ignorance, volitional formation, consciousness, mind and form, 6 sense bases, contact, feeling, craving, clinging, becoming, birth, and aging and death as the 12 nodes. The 11 links are 1. With ignorance as condition, volitional formation comes to be, and this goes on until the 11th link. With birth as condition, aging and death comes to be. So now let's go to the 3 rounds, Tivata, or some they put it Tivutta. The 3 rounds independent arising are 1. Rounds of defilements, in Pali, Kilesa Vata. 2nd, rounds of Kama Vata. And the 3rd one is rounds of resultants, Vipaka Vata. So the first one, rounds of defilements. The nodes are ignorance, craving, and clinging. These are the Kilesa Vata. These are the root causes or the factors for the cycle of dependent arising. It could also be a mental and emotional, considered as mental and emotional factors. The second one is the round of karma. The nodes are volitional formations and becoming. These are the actions, be it wholesome or unwholesome. And because it's driven by the defilements, it forms karma, it generates karma, and karma will have the potential to lead to future rebirth or future results, vipaka. The third one is round of resultants, vipaka vata. The nodes are consciousness, name and form, 6 sense bases, contact, feeling, birth and aging and death. These are the results or the consequences of past karma ripening. And they constitute the physical and mental existence of a being. Or some they call it psychophysical component of a being. So having classified these factors under the 3 rounds, let's see how these 3 rounds operate across lifetimes thus perpetuating and the wandering in samsara. So now let's look at the cycle of life in samsara. The above 3 rounds are not linear, but operate cyclically. Defilements, kilesa, drive karma. And the karma in turn produces results, vipaka. And those results, the vipaka, then become the conditions for new defilements to arise. And continuing the cycle of dependent arising. Thus, in a way, the 3 rounds are interconnected, interdependent, and self-perpetuating. So a more specific way and traditionally and frequently used is the 3-life model. The first one is the past life. That means the previous life. Well, due to ignorance, which is the round of past defilement, it's actually round of past defilements, but because it's a round of defilements, but because it's from the past life, so I put it round of past defilements. So one deep volitional, the big deep volitional formation, which is the round of past karma. Then we come to the present life. There is a second life, the present life. Because of ripening of the past karma, the resultants, that is the round of present resultant, happen. Starting from rebirth consciousness, the patisandipika, and certain bases, batu arise. That means at the rebirth consciousness arising, certain base or certain batu will arise together with the patisandipika. Now this is at the conception stage of a being, assuming it's a womb base. So the rebirth consciousness is the mind moment that links the previous life, that means the past life, to the present life. And it's only a mind moment. And over time, for example, for a human being, the name and form and the 6 sense bases will grow, it will develop, and it will mature. So for the case of human being, it will be in the mother's womb. And here mature means to say that the womb, from the womb, it has born and become a baby, and from baby, it grows as a human being. So when the sense space and its respective object come into contact, feeling arises. So there are 3 types of affective feelings, namely pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral feeling. Because of ignorance or not knowing the true nature of phenomena, when good or pleasant affective feeling arises, one likes it and wants it. He or she wishes, craves, and clings to, and for it also. For what? For that emotive feeling, that nice, pleasant feeling. Whereas when the unpleasant feeling arises, he or she rejects it, is averse towards it, and wants to push it away. It wishes to replace it with, for example, with a past memory of a pleasant feeling or a pleasant experience. And it craves and clings for those pleasant feelings, even though it's from the memory. So this new present life's craving and clinging, and is called the round of present defilements, would then drive the being to act and generate new karma. And here we call it round of present karma. So one of the Buddha's teaching is to break the present life's link between feeling and craving. That is the Vedana Pachaya Tanha. That is, to be mindful and with wise attention, especially at the feeling stage. Breaking this link will stop the defilement and karma from proliferating, and thus breaking the cycle of dependent arising. And the third part is the future life. That is the third life. Because of the past as well as the present life's karma, a new future birth occurs. And because of that birth, the being would age and finally die, which is the round of future resultant. So these processes may be summarized as follows in table form. So dependent arising based on the 3 rounds. So one is life, column, round, and then the factors column. So the 3 life is past, present, and future. Then the rounds, there are 3 rounds. Rounds of defilements, round of karma, and round of resultants. So defilements, karma, resultants, okay? And then the factors are the factors in the dependent arising. So the first one is the ignorance from the past. Then it creates volitional formations also in the past life. And that will result, the volitional formation will result in the present resultant, which has consciousness, name and form, 6 sense bases, contact and feeling. And with these new resultants, there is a new craving or new defilements arises. And the craving and clinging are the defilements. And because of that defilements, new karma called becoming is formed. And with that new karma, then it will release to the future resultants, which have birth, aging, and death factor. So this is the summarized in tabulation in table form of the above process. So this process continues on from one life to another life endlessly, driven by ignorance and craving, unless and until the cycle is broken through insight, that is vipassana, and the realization of path marga to nibbana. However, the term samsara is not just about multiple lives, multiple lifetimes. It could also be understood and explained from the perspective of moment to moment. But this is not the intent of the question here. So in conclusion, thus the 3 rounds framework reveals how defilements, karma, and their results perpetuate the cycle of samsara across past, present, and future lives. Ignorance and craving are the few, leading to repeated birth and death. However, the Buddha's teaching offers a way out by eradicating defilements through wisdom, mental cultivation, and ethical conduct. The rounds or dependent arising can be broken and liberation from samsara attainable. This is the note and the reference. Thank you. That's the end of my presentation. May the Buddha's dispensation last long.
Okay. Anybody want to comment? No, then we proceed to the next one.
Thank you.